5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
It is Sunday night for us. Monday morning for you
I'm
guys.
gonna bit your finger.
Monday morning for you guys. Come on, man.
Don't do that.
So, yeah. What?
What's that all about?
What?
What do you mean what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
We just finished a little, what do we call them? The 4-day things.
We can't call them retreats.
Can't call them vacations. Well, I guess.
Because they're not vacations.
No. Fellowships?
Hey, fellowship lockdowns?
We're not locked down. So, guys, we just did our third, whatever you call it. And the first one, if you remember, was in Arnold, Big Trees. The second one was in Lake Tahoe. Speaking of eye, that's where I almost poked my eye out. Remember that?
Yeah, my eye itches so badly.
That was Lake Tahoe. The third one was in Moss Beach. And wow. Just wow. And I'm saying wow just because the people that went. Secondary wow is the house. First wow is just the people. We had a great group this time.
And you know what's crazy, you guys? That no matter how tired we come back. Like, seriously, this morning, I got up, I threw my heels on, and I literally got up from my seat and I started walking, and my legs went, I told David, my legs aren't working. Like, seriously, I told him my legs ain't working, babe. But you know what? I got up with my heels anyways, and I went to church and I wore my heels. And then your legs were feeling it too.
Yeah, they're sore.
I know.
Somebody beat my legs up at night?
It was because that walk to the beach and then back, and we walked a whole bunch of stairs going up this big hill.
Twice, because I had to use the restroom. So, each time now, it's like being on the third one. I can't help but think, man, I wish everybody who went to the first and the second was here in the third. I keep wanting to, and you can't do it, you know what I mean? But it's like, I can't say I enjoyed one over the other because each one had its own
uniqueness.
Its own uniqueness.
Yeah.
The first cabin and the second one. This third one wasn't a cabin. It wasn't a cabin. It was actually a house built in the 1900s that was furnished like the 1900s. Mm-hmm. If you did the walkthrough with me, I did a walkthrough of the video when you and the ladies went for a walk to the beach.
Yeah. I
walked through the house. I showed the toilet. It's literally a pull string. And then every time I would pull it, I'd be like, da-na-na-na. Like the Addams Family. So, but, man, it was a blessing. It was a blessing, and honestly, I was, like we've said, as long as we can continue to afford it, our part, because we split the house, guys. Whatever the house costs to rent, we split it. 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, we split it, and I said, as long as we can afford, because that means we're paying for our part each month, but as long as we keep doing that, I mean, man, we want to, it's just...
Keep on painting and I keep on working, but we'll be okay.
Yeah, honestly, it's worth it. It's worth selling the painting so we can pay our part because, man, the bonding that comes, like, I'll give you an example, okay, is today, after service, I saw 3 of the guys that were on that trip.
That didn't know each other.
Each other.
Never talked.
And they were sitting there talking for about 30, 40 minutes after service.
And then their kids were playing together. They played over there together, and they were playing together right after too.
And I was joking around because Moss Beach, it starts with the M. So I walked up to them. I was like, hey, guys. And they're like, yeah. And I looked around. I was like, Moss Beach? And they started laughing, because it creates this camaraderie, this fellowship amongst the sisters and the brothers, and that's exactly what I want to see, because I told them, I said, we sat there with the whole group. We sat everybody down the last night. I said, me and Sharon know all of you. But before you walked in this building, most of you didn't know each other.
Yeah.
So, mission accomplished. When after service, I'm talking to people, you're talking to people, and I turn around and I see 3 brothers sitting there talking for 40 minutes. That would have never happened before.
And you know what was so cool too, what I really loved, and it was a reminder to me that literally this morning when I woke up, I seen Sister Gracie from the first one, Pastor Carlos's wife, from the first group that went out. We have a string, like the women. I have a string with all the women from all the different groups, and she sent out a video to us, a song video to the string of the women from the first group.
Yeah.
You know, and just the fact that we still have that going.
Yeah.
And I love it because there's still the communication there. And, you know, and then I just started a string with the women from yesterday as well.
What do you call it? Or you don't name it, nothing? It's just the names?
It's just the names of the women of that group, you know, and it's crazy because, you know, we just continue the strings, you know, of the messages of all the pictures that we took there. We share moments, you know, like right now, talk about our legs hurting. and you know, and some of us, we're going to start walking because we feel like we ate so much.
Yeah.
Again, it seems like, I think we need to fast after we come home from those things, because 4 days of just trying to fit in all this food in 4 days, you need to come home and you really need to fast for a few days, you know, or just not eat. But
well, we're gonna spend time with Carlos and Gracie.
Yeah,
this weekend.
We're gonna see them this weekend. Spend one day with them, a Friday to a Saturday. Yeah, we're gonna spend some time with them, and then the following week we're actually going to
Larry
for
celebration of life for Brother Ruben Figueroa.
Yes.
His wife Sandra asked me to speak. So
for Friday,
that's a huge honor, as I've shared with you guys. So we'll be doing that. But yeah, man, it was great. It was a lot of fun, and I'm liking the places that we're choosing. You know, every place has been different.
It's been different. Some are more humble than others. You know, here's what I really, really loved about
this one.
This one was very special, you guys. It belonged. This house belonged to a widow, an older widow, and you can tell that, you know, the home wasn't. It wasn't like this home where you can tell that she had like big time maids coming in or big time or anything.
Like Tahoe, that was spotless.
Tahoe was spotless, and you can tell that they had a service coming in. You can tell that this is a woman who did things on her own and everything, and I could appreciate that. And you know, when we spoke to her, she was just so loving and so easygoing, and she says, you know, you guys just
no. Something else happened before that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, she called me the day before we were leaving, and she goes, "Hello, this is," I forgot her name. It starts with the M.
It's Mary.
No.
Millian.
Yeah.
Millian.
And I said, "Oh, hello." She goes, "Are you still at the house?" You know, and I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well," "I'm going into emergency surgery."
Well, that's what I was going to share.
No, you were already jumping to what she was going to say about the more time.
No, I was going to go before that, even before that. But no, you go ahead now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So she called me, and, you know, she just saying, you know, are you still at the house? I said, yeah. And she started sharing about her having emergency surgery. And so I told her, I said, well, my wife and I are ministers. And she goes, oh, I didn't know that. You know, and because originally when I got the house, there's an application saying, why do you want it? Because they want to keep party people out. Like no loud parties. Why do you want to go? Who are you coming with? Because they have a discretion to whether they want to rent the house or not. Yeah. And I said, well, you know, we're pastors and we're taking some families from our church. So I thought she had read it. She goes, oh, I didn't know that. You know, and I started praying for her. And she was just a sweeter older lady. And she's like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And And then she goes, you know what? She goes, don't, you just stay till 1.
Yeah, she didn't, ask us to leave at the time that we needed to leave.
And her rules were short.
Yeah, her rules were super, super short.
Compared to
a lot of other places, they want us to like deep clean and to kind of do the work for them.
And they still charge you cleaning fee.
Yeah, and they still charge a whole cleaning fee and a lot of stuff, And for some reason, I just told David, I was like, I'm glad that she's letting us stay a little bit longer, because what it did, it made me really want to, do a little bit of extra work for her, because I could tell that she did this work on her own, because it didn't look like a cleaning service came in there. So what we did collectively is we just went at it and we did start cleaning.
Sweet.
We swept, we started cleaning, we pretty much did everything that we can actually do on our part to leave it, really nice. So that all she needed to come in and do is, we didn't have access to washing the towels, so she could just come in and just wash the towels pretty much. And we left everything really nice. And the guys had bought us some flowers, and so we left the flowers really nicely there. And she had a book, and it looks that it goes back many years, where everybody that has visited there writes a little thank you in there, and why they left, like a journal of people that have visited there. And me and all the wives and the ladies, we decided to write a paragraph. Like I wrote a paragraph and everybody wrote a sentence after that as to what we enjoyed there and what it did for us being there. And I took pictures of it, and I was so blessed, So, we all wrote a paragraph of it, and I left it there open in front of the flowers, so she can see it the first moment that she walked in. But we were absolutely blessed and humbled, because it seemed like every piece of furniture, everything that was in there had a story to it. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
And then she had a picture frame that actually had a picture of the original house of what it looked like back in at the early 1900s.
It was an old black and white. It looked really old. There's no houses around it.
Nothing. And it looked like the early 1900s. And I was like, OMG. And we were sitting there analyzing it, and we're like, oh my God. I took
a picture of it. I'll post it.
Oh, yeah. It is so cool, guys.
I'll put it at the 12-minute mark.
Yeah, so. It's really, really cool.
And it was funny because, like you were saying, like I remember the first cabin, they were literally like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Take the garbage, take it to the city dump. I mean, it was crazy, the requirements in order to get your deposit back. And you have this whole list. And hers was like, she goes, oh, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be in the hospital, so can you please take the garbage out and clean the barbecuer? Like,
that was it. I'm like, no, we're going to do a little bit.
Yeah,
we're going to do more than that.
We left her house probably better than when we walked in.
Yeah.
Well, the women. Well, yeah. No, we were throwing garbage out and
yeah,
stuff.
You guys did a lot of work. You guys did all the outside stuff and everything. So we were blessed.
All the chairs.
It was collective, guys. Yeah. But praise God, like David said, seeing the women and seeing the men, and just seeing the communication and seeing that fellowship and everything, it's what really brings peace and brings that love and joy into our hearts to see that. And that's when we just look up and we just say, Lord, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, because this is why. This is exactly why. Because when you build communication and friendships and relationships amongst the brethren, what happens, you build stronger families within the church. And when we have strong families, we have a strong church. And this is why it's so important for us to do what we're doing, and there may be like, I can have family members that'll be like, oh, you're on vacation again, oh, what about us? Or but it's not about that. You have to understand, like, I know, like, my mom will be like, oh, you're on vacation. No, Mom, I'm not on vacation. I am, I don't think sometimes people will sometimes understand what we're trying to do, what we're doing. Yeah. And it's important that we all have to be aligned to what it is that God is doing here. We have to understand, and not everybody's going to always understand what God's trying to do here.
What was cool is also Brother Danny and Margaret. Danny is from San Francisco, which was only 20 miles north. And then he grew up in Pacifica, which was literally like 10 minutes away from where we were. So on the way out, he's like, man, there's this little Mexican restaurant that I grew up going to. Remember? So on the way out, we went there. And man, it was good.
Yeah, we had really some dinner before heading home.
Yeah, and so even though we checked out, we got together in fellowship. We snuck in some of our own salsa.
Yeah, and then after that, we walked off the food a little bit. We walked a little bit, and then everybody kind of dispersed, and it was just Alex and Cindy and myself and you. And then we decided on our way home, on the way towards Dublin.
I was getting sleepy.
Yeah, and we're all like, you know what, let's stop for coffee. And we stopped at a little bakery, and we stopped for coffee and a little baked good. And we sat down, and we waited for the sun to set, and we just literally, we talked for another good hour, maybe.
Probably longer.
Yeah, and we had such an amazing talk, and we talked for a while about a lot of things.
About the trip.
Yeah, about the trip and about
the first trip.
Yeah, leadership. And about leadership and just a lot of really good things. And man, we're just really, really blessed. And then after that, we said our goodbyes, and we headed home. And came home, and David
wrote the sermon.
Worked on the sermon, and I worked on some other stuff on the prison ministry. And
so come home and go straight to work.
Yeah, we went straight to work, guys.
Woke up this morning and went to service. Which I always tell you guys in the Monday morning devotional. Hope you guys saw this sermon, yesterday's sermon. And it was called The Author and Finisher of Our Faith. And I'm just like, I told everyone there, I said, I'm going to talk about Jesus this whole sermon.
That was beautiful. That was awesome.
And, man, I felt the Spirit move. Man, right in the beginning of my sermon, I felt the Spirit just the presence of God literally hovering over that place. Which I was preaching about the Spirit of God hovering.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just comparing the world void and comparing us being void. Did you like that comparison?
I did. I gotta hand it to you on something though. I gotta admit to something, guys. I woke up at 5:45 this morning to work on the prison ministry stuff. Okay. And so when I was sitting there and I was working on it, I was proofreading some of the stuff. And remember the one where we talked about when I did the testimony?
Yeah.
Okay. When we talked about God's goodness?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was reading that, there were so many discrepancies on my testimony because it's verbatim.
Yeah.
And she did it word by word. And I'm like, oh my God, I talk like this? Seriously, you guys. There were so many you knows.
Oh, really?
Babe, I counted so many you knows. And none of my stuff made sense. And I started reading the testimonies and I was like, oh my God, but...
Oh my God, what?
But just wait. Oh. And so and I was like, man. And then I'm reading your stuff, and I'm like, how does he just flow?
Oh, it wasn't like that?
No. And so,
maybe Rosa cleaned my stuff up.
No, Rosa. I don't think you just clean his stuff. I think you're just, the Lord has really refined your gift. you know. And
something shifted when the pandemic happened.
I really realize that the Lord has really refined your gift, and I praise God for that, because I read through your words, and it takes a lot, babe. It really does. And I'm just like, how come he doesn't have the you knows, and he doesn't have all the you know I felt like a gangster on there. Really, I'm serious. And I had to clean our stuff up, and I'm like, this is so inappropriate, you know. And I literally had to clean ours up. Rosa, I know you know what I'm talking. See, I know you know what I'm talking about, because you actually typed it up. But it takes a special gift, you know. And man, I just gotta say that I'm proud of you, babe. Really, like, seriously.
You know, like, ever since and I've talked about this in previous times, but like, and I'm saying it for those of you guys that you know God is calling you for teaching or preaching or evangelizing, talking to you, or even just teaching your family, teaching your loved one, teaching your spouse. You know, maybe you can pick up off of this, or even like Sister Helen, how she pours into other women.
Yeah.
You know, when I was very young, I used to love to read the comics, and I would reenact them as a kid. I loved Sergeant Rock. I didn't have superheroes. I had Sergeant Rock. That's what I'd watch, and I would read his comic and play war outside, and me and my little brother Angel would reenact the comic. I would read books. I was a voracious reader, you know, and I loved reading, still do. Then I became a rapper. And the type of raps I did, the reason I was able to become a successful rapper was because I would tell stories. Not on every song, but I would tell stories and visualize, and people would be like, dude, I feel like I see what you're saying. How can I visualize what you're rapping about? You know, and I used to get that a lot back then. And then I wrote a book back in the 90s, I think 1999, I wrote a book, which is right here, actually. I was going to talk about it, but might as well show it. I wrote this book.
All right, don't be throwing stuff.
I wrote this book. The first copy I wrote was 1999. Anyway, it's not important, but yeah. Because I felt like songs weren't enough to tell a story. How could I tell a story in a 3-minute song? So I wrote a book. And I realize now, all this stuff I was telling you about since I was a child had nothing to do with me. It was what God instilled in me.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't realized what he was building me up for. And now, I say all that to say this, is that when you're going to share a story, when you're going to share something, the way to not stutter, mess up, this and that, is you have to make yourself a part of the story. If you're preaching about Mary or Joseph or Ruth or whatever, you read it and put yourself in the story, literally to the point where it's a movie in your head. And that's a whole lot easier to share than trying to talk in a way where you're outside. It's too hard. I start messing up if I do that. You know, if I start, Joseph and his brothers didn't like him, and, it's easier to be like, Joseph was there and his brothers were hating him, and man, that made him feel horrible. And he didn't know what to do because he knew God had gave him these visions. And he wanted to share them with them. See, you just like, you make it a part of who you are. And like, you just have to become one with the Bible. You have to become one with the stories. You have to expand and say, what did this person think? What did they feel like? And even though it's just guesswork, but there's nothing wrong with that, to say, man, what was he thinking about? Like today, yesterday's sermon, I was talking about John when he was writing John chapter 1. Like, what was that like?
Yeah. What
was that like? And I tried to just dive in. For that moment, I'd be honest with you, I forgot everyone was there.
Yeah.
For that, if you really watch back for that segment, like, I just got lost in it. I got lost in that story because the Bible's so rich. It's so rich. it's not like water, it's like honey. And it's thick.
Yeah.
And it's rich. And you have to, like, you know how a lot of times we say, oh, you just got to pour out to the congregation. But if I just pour out a tub of water in the congregation, the water just goes, it flows, and it's out. But if I pour a tub of honey, it goes, and it's smooth, and it just takes its time. And we were talking about public speaking at the house, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was Brother Ivan showed up, and Brother Sal showed up. We didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
Ivan from San Francisco, who came 3 hours on a bus just to go to our Bible study. He showed up because he lives in Daly City, which is literally 15 minutes away. He spent the day with us. Sal works in San Francisco, and after work he showed up for 2 hours or so.
Yeah, he hung out, and he got a chance to have some cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Ivan got to hang out
But I gave him tips on talking because he had to do a presentation, and I'm like, slow down, and just. But I don't know. I mean, you have to think about it. I've been preaching for 9 years in the congregation now. So you get used to speaking, you get used to pacing, you get used to, And...
but I've always been used to speaking, or I used to always be so comfortable in an element of speaking and everything. But things over the last few years, it's like things have changed for me for some reason. Yeah. I guess maybe the whole setting of things have changed.
Yeah.
And I think I shared this with you not too long ago, that almost it's the intimidation of for a moment I was feeling the intimidation of sitting here with you at times. Yeah. It started to set in at times, and I just kind of felt like, but that's kind of like those walls are kind of coming down, yeah. Because for a while it was up here, it kind of felt a little awkward, and I'm like, I don't know, man, it was kind of hard at first, but it's becoming more of my comfort level is kind of, stepping in, and I'm feeling more comfortable being able to speak.
But I think these devotionals have helped you.
They have, because see, my thing is, I used to go out and speak. I used to share my testimony. I used to go out and speak to young women. I used to be a big advocate for teen moms, and I'd be an encourager for teen moms, and I'd go out and speak for programs, and I'd speak on different topics and stuff like that. If you get me out there to speak on certain things, man, I'm on fire for certain things, but it gets hard to sometimes speak on subjects that you begin speaking on that I'm not yet in tune with, or that I haven't studied with you or anything, because you bring up subjects sometimes and I just can't just jump right into them. Because your noggin works different than my noggin.
But I think, it's interesting, as you say that you had a lot of but-ums or whatever it is you said. You said a lot when you read that.
But I didn't have that before.
But yet, you don't do that on the devotionals because you're comfortable here. You're comfortable on this platform.
No, but I sometimes do you
do great.
I think I was nervous that day though, because I did it a lot on there. I counted like 13 times. Yeah. I was like, what? Because
it's hard. Because here's what's hard though. I'll be honest with you. How do you share a testimony knowing it's got to be in 10 minutes or less? That's hard.
Well, it's not just that too, because I'll tell you guys one thing. I love to sing worship. I love to sing unto the Lord. But when I'm singing my heart and sharing my heart unto the Lord, my knees still tremble, guys. I still get nervous,
It should.
And
it should.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because I'm not up there for anybody else. Because what happens is that when I'm up there, everybody else dissipates. Everybody else is gone, and it's just him and I. And I love that. I love that. And my hand starts to tremble, And sometimes I can't even hold on to that microphone, and I have to hold my other hand on top of it to make it stop. And I can't keep it from shaking sometimes because my hand wants to shake so much, because I'm just like, being in his presence, it's so beautiful, and it's so nerve-wracking in a beautiful way, you know?
Yeah, when I preach, like I noticed today, I try to get too many words out at once. Mm-hmm. Do you catch that when that happens to me up there?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, David, slow down, because I get really excited, and I start messing up my words, and I'll say a word that I didn't mean to say, and I backpedal. You know, I noticed that about myself. I'm like, okay, slow down, you know, and I have to tell myself up there because I get overexcited and I'm trying to get so much out at once, and then I mess up, you know, and then I'll forget, you know, things like that. But
I think bottom line is just having that confidence in the Lord.
Yeah.
And just being bold. Be bold, have confidence. Mm-hmm. And just know who you are and step out in faith and just trust.
And I don't know how this maybe sounds silly or not, but sometimes I like to imagine Jesus in the front row.
Yes.
Seriously, when I'm preaching.
You should always be in the front row.
And there's certain things I'll say, and it's weird because you're gonna think I'm weird, man. But I'll be preaching. I'm preaching, and like I imagine him in the front row, like a father, proud of his son, like the way a father looks at a son that just hit a home run, or just got a diploma or a degree, and because I'm a dad, and when I see my kids get the diploma, man, I'm shining, you know, and I imagine in my imagination that he's in the front row like that.
That's how I feel about you when I'm in the front row.
You know, and I don't know, it's just overwhelming sometimes to imagine Jesus.
See, he doesn't know how to receive compliments.
Well, I was in the middle of a thought, you know, and it's just, it's humbling, you know, because ultimately I'm just like, man, if I do this sermon, because if I say, man, I got to do a sermon that pleases, you know, 60, 70, 80 people that's there, or those that are watching, and that gets kind of nerve-wracking. But then if I'm like, slow down, I said, if I could please the audience of one, if I could please the Lord.
Yeah.
Because if I could preach a sermon that he loves, that means it's going to be effective to everybody else.
Amen.
So,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, so I got to keep that in mind. I'm like, I don't have to preach to please thousands. I got to preach to please one person. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Amen.
You know, and because automatically, if it pleases him, it's going to affect people. You know, so guys, we didn't have a verse. We just wanted to recap. We just wanted to hang out. We just wanted to talk to you guys.
But I think that is important, that we always remember that he always be in the forefront, that he always be our main attraction, the main reason for all that we do. And just remember that, guys.
The video that the mic broke on, I mentioned these, and I never mentioned them again.
Oh, okay.
So I understand. Most of you know that I wrote a couple books. One I wrote before Christ. Missing my confusion. This is not my autobiography. This is a fictional story that I made up. I'm probably going to change the cover because it looks like it's an autobiography because it's my face on it.
Mm-hmm. I would.
Yeah, but this is on Amazon. This is as an ebook. This is an Audible. But I have copies now. So if this is something you're interested in, comment below and I'll let you know, because if you order it from me, it can be signed. If you order it from Amazon, it won't be signed. But this is my autobiography. This is my testimony. Oops. This is my testimony. So both of these, I have copies now. I will have copies all the time now. And you can order this on Amazon. This is not an Audible yet, but it's an ebook and it's a paperback book. But if you order it from me, it'll be signed. So if this is something you're interested in, please let me know. This helps us. This helps our ministry. As you know,
yeah, we need a new mic.
as you know,
and a stand.
As you guys know, man, I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm not on payroll at the church. So that's why I paint. You know, I'll do the t-shirts, the shirts that we do for the church, or the books that I sell. This is what we do, you know. So I hope you don't mind that.
And I work. So.
Yeah. So I hope you don't mind if I take a minute or two at the end of a video just to show you what it is that we're doing, because it helps us, you know, and it's a blessing to us. These devotionals, we put them out. When I preach, we put them out. We do the Bible studies, we put them out. You know, when we go on these trips, we're putting our part in to be with these families. We're pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. But if you truly want to ever help pour this way, you know, I'm never going to say, hey, send me $20. But I will say this, hey, you want to buy a book for $20? Because I want to give you something. I'm not asking for nothing. I want to give you something.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
So,
and we are going to ask that. I know that a lot of the times, I'm not sure that when we do have a website, guys, because I noticed that during our sermons and everything, I'm not sure if it's completely given correctly, but it is www.houseofrestchurch at...
You just said it wrong yourself.
houseofrestchurch.com. And our email, that's what I wanted to give too. Our email is houseofrestchurch@gmail.com. So if you want to either correspond to us through there, you can, or you can email us, whichever way you want. Please feel free to go to our website. Look at what we have there. Message us through there, or just, you know, check out our videos on there. If there's any of the videos that you're looking for through the YouTube, they're all in order on there from date, you know, from the beginning on. So go on there if you need to look at any of the videos, any of these books, anything that we've done. We have pictures on there. We have stuff on there. So please feel free to go on there. You can see David's art on there. And you can just kind of see who we are. You can see a little story about us, an insert about us and who we are as well. So just take a look, you know, just go around. And lastly, hit like. Hit like on the video.
Hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. That way you get notifications every time we go on. Leave a comment. All of those things help. Hitting the like button, subscribing, leaving comments. All of those three things help these videos get recommended to other people.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm hoping that, David, will you put up a picture of our last group that just went up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes. We're going to put up a picture of our last group that just went up. And guys, you know that if this is something that you're interested in doing, let us know, okay? If you're one of our regular viewers, one of our regular family members on here, please make sure to email us.
If you want to go on one of the next trips, we plan these months ahead. So we already have November covered. December, we're not doing nothing. January's already covered. So we're talking February, March, or April. If you want to be included in one of those trips, please let us know. We'll get right back to you.
Absolutely.
At houseofrestchurch@gmail.com.
Bye, guys. We love you guys.